Little turtle.
So what we're going to do is
Three, two, one. Yes. Hello, NuMinds Nation. Welcome to From the Vault, the NuMinds special program where we take goodies and oldies and classics from NuMinds history and give you a little piece of the magic that you can do right there in your own homes, eventually in your own classroom. And today we have a very special guest. It's a Mr. T, also known as Doug Thompson in other dimensions, but we like to call him Mr. T. He's one of our star inspirators at NuMinds, and he has a magical way of taking these things that are so fun and cool and making them so easy to do. And one of those things came from a course that Mr. T wrote for NuMinds for Camp Pursuit many years ago, and it's called Make a World. Make a World, the magic of Ed Emberley. And so the supplies you're going to need for this one, if you want to pause here, if you're watching this as a recording and you want to pause here and go check it out, you just need a piece of paper or some paper or drawing paper, computer paper, whatever you got. A pencil, like a regular pencil will do, but colored pencils are awesome as well. And if you know this fancy word and you have one, a Flair pen. But basically what that means is a thin marker. And Mr. T is going to talk more about that. But basically, to get us set up here, so personally, I don't know about you, but sometime when I was a kid, like in elementary school, I'm thinking like upper elementary school, suddenly I just decided that I wasn't an artist, that I wasn't good at drawing. And it's such a shame because now as an adult and grown person, I often get the urge to draw, and I'm still having to think about that old feeling and thought that I'm not an artist, I'm not a drawer, I shouldn't be doing this. When in reality, everyone in the world has a right to draw and create their own universes on paper, right? And that's what Mr. T is going to talk to us about, is what happens that when we're little, okay, not that little, but when we're kids learning the alphabet, learning shapes, and we first get crayons and markers and things like that, we have no fear. We have absolutely no fear. We're like warriors, right? We're world-making warriors. But then something happens and we decide that we can't do it anymore, or we're shy. And I just want to break through all that and have some fun. So Mr. T, I'd like to formally introduce you. Can you tell us the activity that we're going to do today?
Hey, Mr. Ben. Mr. Cookie.
Yeah, exactly. We all got our nicknames, don't we?
That's right. So, like you, I got to the point where I didn't think I could draw anything either, and I was getting ready to start the school year when I was a very young teacher. I wasn't brand new, but I was very young, and I had this wonderful opportunity that I could exercise when I wasn't teaching. And I may have discovered this in the summer, but there was a very special bookstore in Snyder Plaza. Remember Snyder Plaza down in Highland Park?
I don't. But I didn't grow up in Dallas, though, so it might mean something to a lot of Dallas folks.
Well, it's gone now, but it was the kind of bookstore that was very small, but it was just jam-packed with books, and it welcomed you in like a warm hug, and you could spend hours, and in fact were encouraged to do so. And during one of those occasions, I stumbled across a book that really attracted me Can you see? Is that screen showing now
Yeah, it is.
that
And
we're looking?
yeah, it sure is. That's the very book that got your attention. Make a world.
This, yeah, this is the book that I picked up. Now this is a hardcover. I'm not even sure if you can buy it in a hardcover anymore, but this book is 46 years old
Oh
now.
my goodness, Mr. T, do you mind holding that up to
It's
the
older.
camera a little bit? Could you hold that up the
It
cover just so
is
we can?
it is older than most of the parents, and probably all of the parents, right?
Good points. Yeah.
What I did was I opened it up. I don't know if you can, if you can switch over to that picture that I took, or I can just show them in this book, which is easier.
Yeah, I have those ready to share. Do you want me to share the?
Can you pop up that first one that I showed you?
Okay, you bet.
So as you open the book, um, he draws you into his world. And this is what grabbed me when I first saw this part of one of his introductory pages.
So what we're looking at right now is there's a page with a lot of animals that kind of goes from like the most basic shapes on the left, and you go all the way across to the right, and you got yourself like a cool looking creature.
How about this one? The one that has the box and the balloons.
Let me see. I'll keep going. They might have been flipped when I downloaded them. I've got the people one. Oh yeah, I've got the box and the balloons. Yeah, is that kind of like in the front of the book?
Closely now because I can't see. Okay, so do our screens look the same now? Pretty much.
It says if you can draw these things, you can draw all the objects in this book.
That's what grabbed me right there. Like as soon as I saw that, I said, "Well, my goodness, I can draw a triangle. I can draw a straight line. I can draw a dot. I can draw some little hashes, and I can fill those little shapes in." And so what he promises in this book that he created, in this universe that he created, was that if you could do everything that's inside this little box, then you can draw anything that's in the book.
That is kind of mind-boggling, Mr. T. Like I just can't quite get my head around that. Could that really be true? That if I can draw all those things?
It's exactly what I said. And I thought, well, now wait a minute. If I'm thinking that I can't draw anything, and he says, "Oh, but if you can draw these simple things, then I can show you how to draw virtually anything in the world." Then I said, "Well, let's go. Let's see what this is all about."
Yeah.
So as I open the book, and you can show maybe the next page. Is that the one with the little animals on it?
I've got the people next.
Okay, show the people.
Okay.
So on the people one, let me grab that page. Here's his premise. Because we in America read from left to right, he organizes his drawings from left to right, and he has a really simple way of doing it. So think of this first box that has this little guy in it. On the far left is the first thing that you draw. Mm-hmm. And down below it is the picture of the thing that you have added to the page.
Ah, I see. So on top is how the drawing itself is growing, but
right
down below is what you have added.
Exactly. So that if you wanted to draw a little guy that looked like the guy on the far right, then you would start on the far left and do it a piece at a time. And that, my friends, is how you can draw anything in the world with some very simple shapes.
Oh my gosh, Mr. T, I want to like jump right in and see something in action. I'm going to put you back. I'm going to put you back on the screen. And would you demo and show us some cool, simple object that is built that way?
Well, all you need is a piece of paper, right? And this is the Flair pen that I was talking about.
Okay.
The reason I like the Flair is because it has a controlled flow of ink that comes out of it. It's pretty hard to smear and mess up. And so if you're just little bitty, you can still make it work. And if you want to use a pencil, that works fine too.
Okay.
So can you see my hand okay?
I can. I'm gonna guess if you can draw a little bigger than you normally would, just so we can get a good view. So if I'm a kiddo at home right now, as long as I've got a piece of paper and a pen or pencil, I can copy you and create a little drawing.
You
right?
can I'll go slowly enough so that we can kind of go together if you want to try it like that.
Yeah, sure.
So here's what we're going to do. The first thing, and this we do this in teacher seminars. I do this with adult classes. I've done this with all different ages, but I say, go ahead and draw your best stick figure. Your best stick figure. And almost everybody knows that that means you're drawing something that kind of looks like that.
Right.
You know, it's supposed to be an image of a man, of a person. Doesn't even have to have a gender. It's just a stick figure or a stick man. And then I want you to draw a circle around it.
Okay.
And then I want you to put a line through it like that.
Ouch. I had a feeling that was coming.
Because we, from now on, after today, we're not going to draw these guys like this anymore. Somebody says, hey, draw a dude, draw a cowboy, draw a lady, draw a baby sitting on a ball. You don't have to draw like this anymore. Let's do it the Ed Emberley way, where he says, follow along and I'll show you how to make something just a little bit better, and it's going to be a lot more fun to work with. So in this case, let's draw a head.
Okay, so
that's usually a circle.
So old school stick figures have formerly been banned, and now we're following like what's the alternative? Because you got to give us a solution here.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we draw a little head, and then on that, and I go down just a little tiny bit, but it doesn't matter that much. We're going to draw a triangle.
Okay. So instead of just a little stick, it's a triangle. Gives it some more depth, right?
A little more body to it, right?
Yeah.
And now for his arms, we're going to go up and down.
Okay, so that was like a single motion. The arms are kind of connected.
And you can do it in two motions. You can do it with two sticks. I did it in one curve stick. And then we add legs to it. And then we can put little feet.
And Ed Emberley in the book walks you step by step through all kinds of different people in all different kinds of situations, right? And then once you know the basic pieces.
That's right. That's right. And so as you have that page, you can open it up and you can print it out if you'd like to where you can work on everything that's on that page and practice. So here's something that not everybody gets to do, I think, in class, and that is, okay, I showed you how to do it once. Let's see if we can do it again. See if it's different. See if you like the way to do it. I draw a head, little neck, triangle, little arms.
Okay.
Got legs. I got feet. I'm going to put buttons on my guy.
Ah, there you go. Add those layers of detail, right?
Okay. Now let's play with it. Because this is all about growth mindset.
Ooh, explain.
Well, we're going to draw these and draw these and draw these until you draw them the way you like to draw them.
So
you say, well, no, wait a minute. How many variations can you have in something like that, right? Well, let's do something like this. Let's put a head, and let's make a longer triangle. And let's make our arms go up. And the legs will be shorter because in this case, my story is it's a lady. Because you see, part of her legs are covered up underneath the
Gotcha.
triangle.
Hey, Mr. T, just for a second, I'm going to cut the screen back over to the people page so people can
Yeah.
see. It gets more and more complex as you move across the page, right? So we have just basic people in column 1. In the middle, we've got actions like kicking, jumping, running. But then it gets even more elaborate over on the far right column where you got, okay, I want to draw someone playing football, baseball. I want to draw an archer, someone doing a trapeze, someone golfing. Like Ed Emberley kind of walks you through all of these things. And I can just imagine, Mr. T, once you get a knack for it, like you said, that the combinations are endless. Is that kind of the point?
Well, it really is kind of the point, because once you feel comfortable with just this new little skill that we're working on, you can begin to imagine. And I use a lot of what Ed Emberley does to spur my imagination, but it allows me to do something like this. I'm going to take another person, and in this case, how about if that person changes the position of their legs?
Aha.
And then, in order to show what we just did, I changed the position of their arms.
There you go.
So now they're bending down, let's say, or that's kind of squatting down. Maybe they're getting ready to jump. Now, what if I want to, and this is where you may have seen what Mr. Adam did today when he was talking about drawing the beginnings of a story, that as the story is being told, you're beginning to draw. And it occurred to me that may be difficult for some people because they're kind of stuck in that mode of, well, I can't draw. Mm-hmm. I can tell a story, but I can't really draw. And I would say, well, why don't you change your mindset a little bit and begin to draw something a little more simply than this. And let's say that I want to make, how about if we make somebody that can fly?
Ooh, I like it.
All right, so how about we'll turn our page over here. We still have a head. Now I'm going to change the angle of the body just a little bit. And I'm going to make my legs go out behind me.
Okay.
And I'm going to make my arms go out in front of me.
Ah, Superman pose.
And now I'm going to put a cape. Wow. Nice. Okay. And so now you can put his red underwear on. It's really not underwear, but you know.
Yeah, there you go. I was going to say, adding the color adds a whole new flair to it, too.
And now you can add maybe a red cape to it.
Can we see your superhero up close? Can you hold that guy or gal? I love it because it's so evolved from the basic stick figure that we started with, but it's all the same components.
It's all the same things, right? Now somebody would say, well, you know, you have not drawn a real Superman. You have not drawn an authentic, character. And your point is, but it helps me to tell my story.
Yeah, it's about storytelling.
It helps me to move my story along. Now, I can remember what I used to do. I'll show you something that I learned to draw, and it changed everything for me. Now, remember when I was a little kid, we used to play a couple of things that people no longer play. One was Cowboys and Indians, and the other was war. I mean, we played because we were the generation that were children of the greatest generation of America that had just won World War II, we played games that I would play out loud on a piece of paper, talking and making the
Right. Sound
sound
effects
effects.
and all. It was almost like 3D or 4D if you add the sounds and the.
Well, it was all in my head for
Yeah,
sure, right? Like,
right.
so here's what I did. Someone taught me how to make an airplane look like it was coming at me.
Ooh.
And all I did was I had a circle, I had wings, and I had a little tail.
Ah,
Okay.
yeah.
So all that is, and then I guess I could put a propeller there, and sometimes I guess I would do that.
Yeah.
So these things could drop little bombs, and they could shoot bullets, and
Right.
they could drive and fly all over the place.
And of
Well,
course, your entire page, Mr. T, was full of the story because you had soldiers
it was
over here and tanks
completely
over
full.
here and airplanes here.
It looked like a mess to anybody that picked it up after I was gone, but to me, it was a story.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so your story doesn't have to be, left to right, box in box, or any kind of thing. It's just a part of what you do while you're telling your story is that you're now able to draw some things that perhaps you weren't you weren't as sure about drawing before.
So, Mr. T, what I want to do is I want to go back to, I want to show them that there's 4 handouts that we included in the links here in the comments
Good.
that anybody
Yeah.
watching has access to 4 of the pages from that book. And we also have a link if you want to get the full book from Amazon. It's there. We're not affiliates or we don't get a cut or anything, but 4 pages we're providing for them to get a start. I want to show them those pages again. So we've seen the person page, which we just looked at. What I want to do is go. Now we're looking at, I guess, is it the flag page? There's a pirate cannon. There's a pirate flag, but that would be a fun one to add to a story, wouldn't it? You've got the British flag, Canadian flag.
That I think the next time we get together, we may draw some flags, which are pretty fun and they're pretty easy. And I can show you how he draws the American flag so that it has 13 stars, or I'm sorry, 13 stripes for the 13 colonies. And he shows you a really easy way to always make that work.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. And the last one that we gave them, Mr. T, is the animal one, which I think they can have a lot of fun with. I mean, look at this giraffe, the spotted giraffe. We've got a little piglet.
Yeah.
I guess maybe my favorite thing on this page is the rhinoceros and the person
Yeah.
sprinting in fight or flight mode from the rhinoceros.
Then you see how he does that with just a little line, a little curved line, and that's all he does, just to give the idea
That's
that
it.
there's motion going on, right?
And then the little detail of the person's hat falling off and just exactly adjusting the curvature of the legs and arms gives that sensation. And then the little shadow underneath the body. It's just amazing what you can do with so subtle details.
I know, I know. So the new book that they published that you can get on Amazon is paperback now. It's bigger, and then he has this whole industry of books that you can also look at on the same Ed Emberley page, to where you can track all kinds of things. And I would encourage you. I've had very, very good luck with this. Is to not necessarily look at the full retail price, but to look at the the used prices that
There you go.
sometimes have free shipping, and it can save you a couple of $2 or $3. And on a $10 book, that's a pretty good little savings.
Yeah.
And
And
you can pick and choose because he has so many different things. Like, look at the one in the middle called Weirdos. He made a whole book about how to draw weirdo faces for Halloween's coming up, and
like Frankenstein's monster looks like some kind of other monster looking over his shoulder. That looks like a lot of fun.
then you see the faces. if we have time, we can go into some of these because I have some of these to play with, and so we can spend some time doing that. Okay.
Yeah, so how about for today? Let's wrap it up. If you just give them, if I'm, let's say I'm a kiddo, I've tuned into New Minds TV, I'm watching this video, and I'm like, you know what? I think I do want to try drawing a story. I feel like empowered to like take these techniques and fill a page with a cool story. What's a simple challenge, Mr. T, that you would give someone just kind of discovering Ed Emberley?
Well, I would think that it would be really fun to tell a story, to start to tell a story that has a character in it. And in your particular case, and think about how some of the characters that are our most favorite are the most simple. So they don't have to be really difficult to draw. Don't make them difficult to draw. Make them fun to draw. And sometimes just to do the simple idea of the man that we've learned today, in changing the color of what the man is wearing, or it's a girl, and you can make the body have polka dots if you want to. You can make the body always be yellow. You can add, let's say, how about this? We take the head, we put a curve up at the top, and then take that head like this. And now what does he look like?
Suddenly he's got a 10-gallon hat on, I'm thinking.
Yeah, he's a cowboy. Yeah.
Right.
Right?
So I think what I'm hearing, Mr. T, is that the challenge you're throwing out there for them is create a character. Create a character that kind of like reflects you, that somehow jives with you, and that's going to turn into a story, which is going to generate more characters, which is going to generate scenes, and eventually you're going to have a plot. And it sounds like, amazing worlds are literally going to be born.
And the more you do this, and this is the idea, you don't think that you have to save everything that you draw at this point, because it's all about filling up the page with character and person after character after person after shape after, I don't really like the way that looks. I mean, the difference between a triangle like this and a triangle like this changes everything.
Yeah.
I mean, see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I think
if you wanted to make a dwarf, right?
Yeah.
Think about the shape of a dwarf, that normally they're like in the fantasies that we're doing, like Mr. Adams talking about, a dwarf would be shorter and would be wider and would be heavier in some way, whereas an elf would be very thin and tall, because think about the characters that you're talking about, and so the attributes are what you add to the paper, and you just have a fun time with it.
Yeah, and that dwarf and the elf have the same basic methodology, which we just learned from Ed Emberley, right? So to kind of wrap it up, the kiddos tuning in today have 4 pages of these step-by-step drawings, but they're not templates. They're guidelines, they're inspirations for the kids to then develop their own method and start creating characters and scenes. And if you're wondering what the reference is to Mr. Adam, he has a show every day on New Minds TV called Dungeonverse, Into the Dungeonverse, and they do all kinds of epic storytelling and challenges, and it's all about designing a story and putting yourself in the story. So this goes hand in hand with that idea of creating your own world and unleashing your imagination. And I love what Mr. T said about not getting hung up on mistakes. I guarantee you that. So we're so used to seeing like final polished books that we didn't see the 17 full trash bins that the illustrators filled up.
Oh my God.
Because the drawings weren't quite there yet, right? So this is about developing a skill and a talent and a passion, and seeing how it goes for you. So with that, we're gonna end today's episode from the vault, and Mr. T will definitely be back. If you make drawings from the Ed Emberley method, send them in, share them on Facebook, have your parents post them, and tag us. We would love to feature them on an episode and bring Mr. T back for like the next level. Like he said, he's got books and books and books that we can dig into, and we'll give you more samples, and you can keep exploring. So NuMinds TV, the home of real inspired learning, strikes again. Oh my gosh. The big red drawing book. That looks fun.
Everything in here is red.
Nice. I see fire trucks. I see Santa. So the supplies for that one will involve a red marker, I'm thinking.
Well, you can have red, white, and blue is what you have.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right, guys. So this is just one more way that we've given you at NuMinds TV where you can pursue your passion until it becomes your talent. Thank you, Mr. T, for being our star guest today. He'll be back.
You bet.
And folks, stay tuned. 5 o'clock, I'm going to wrap up the day for parents, end the day. We have a really cool interview coming up on homeschool hacks. And this was episode 16 of From the Vault. Make a world. See you tomorrow, everybody. And there's Mr. T.